Welcome, Interisti, to episode 121 of the InterViews podcast, the official podcast of SempreInter.com. We are here for the post-match reaction of Sparta Prague versus Inter, which finished 1-0 to the visitors, a solitary goal, a spectacular goal from Lautaro Martinez in the 12th minute. As always, I am one half of your co-hosting duo, Alessandro Raffa, joined here by Johnny Paterno. Johnny, what do you want to talk about? A stir definitely got kicked up on social media today that we should get into, but how do you want to kick this thing off?
Stir kicked up on social media. I was fine. I had no dust ups, no interactions. I actually got to enjoy watching the game today with somebody pretty high up the food chain in I don't know what do you want to call it, national team lore, Serie A lore. It was refreshing for sure for me. So maybe I got to enjoy it by not having to be on social media as much. But yeah, let's I guess we could jump right into what's got you all worked. I mean, holy cow. This is back-to-back episodes where Alessandro is worked up.
I'm not that worked up. I'm not that worked up. I think it maybe
seemed a little worked up. You seemed a little worked up.
I really wasn't. I think it's social media maybe makes it seem like that. When you texted me like, "Yo, calm down," I'm like, I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, what's going on? But apparently it's hot. It's really not hot for me. I had a back and forth today with both Tony Mitch and Nima, who I love both of them. We're tweeting back and forth at each other about this results versus performance debate that's going on, which I think is a super fair debate to be had. I don't think like anyone's wrong. Like, Nima had some points today I'll get into in a second here. Like, I feel a certain way about it, especially I explained in the 2 episodes ago, right? Just the kind of challenge that we're up against and how well I feel we're doing with that, and how I guess it's my desire. What I would rather see on Inter Twitter is more just positive conversation about these results that we've been able to pull in, which are undeniably great results. But then there's also frustration with the performances, and everyone is good and cool to tweet and feel how they do about Inter after these performances. And I also think it's fine to, on Twitter, like say if you disagree with that stuff. Yeah, nothing against anyone. I'm not heated. I wasn't heated. Nima, rude to me, dude. I don't know what you're doing. The Sempre Inter and InterViews pod relationship almost up in flames today, but no, it's all good.
That's on you.
Let's talk about it. What side of the fence are you sitting on with the results versus these performances? Because I think it's okay to say performance-wise, there have been less stellar matches and complete performances out of Inter this season than what we saw last season. The results have been, pretty much on par with a couple extra games thrown in there, but yeah, what's your state as far as this little back and forth is concerned?
I mean, I hate to break it to you, but I kind of understand where Nima and Tony are coming from. Listen, the results are great. I'm never going to be on.
You're not breaking anything to me. No one's mad. We're just talking about it. For fuck's sake.
I'm just not a fan with the performances. I expected them to come out, and we talked about it last episode with Nick. 3-0. We were hoping for by halftime, and that way you could pull all these guys out and rest them for the next game, and maybe even give them the Lecce game off if you're able to, to get enough a result out of that. But a little worrisome at times. I thought that we gave Prague or Sparta, however you want to refer to them, a few opportunities to be able to equalize there. There was one chance where Sommer made a fantastic save. I don't know what I believe
the first half save.
Yeah, I don't remember. It might have been DeVry, possibly. I don't remember now who it was that allowed that player to be left alone really in the 6-yard. No, sorry, the 18, and pretty much get a free shot on goal. I don't know who that was, but that was a little concerning, and it felt like we just didn't want to finish any chances or really step on the gas. And I did agree with something you said that, hey, we did kind of coast. We never really took it out of neutral kind of thing. which, yeah, that's great. We didn't overexert ourselves, but you also kind of would have hoped that you would have been able to score more. You are head and shoulders above them in terms of talent, and I just was hoping for a better outcome. Obviously, the result is fantastic. You want 3 points, whether you win by 1 or 7. It doesn't really make a difference. Although we would be ahead of Arsenal had we won by more points or more goals, I should say. But it is what it is. I'll take the 3 points and move. I just hope that against Lecce we put the game to bed in the first 30 minutes and not let it linger, because Lecce could be a team that burns you.
So what do you think the biggest reason, and I agree, I thought today's performance, I'm not as down on it as maybe some other folks are, because I felt super in control. Like, I don't remember a point outside of that save that Sommer made in the first half, and maybe at the very end with Augusto's clearance, I didn't really feel threatened. I felt like I was watching a team who Sparta needed points today in order to like continue their European journey, and they didn't really play like it. And I thought it was kind of like you're playing, how you play a shit team, and I think this is like story of Inter, at least for as long as I've been watching, where they definitely play down to their opponent. I felt like, just like you said, it was they never kicked out of first gear, and it was just control the game, get the result by any means necessary and get out of there without exerting too much energy, which is what they did. But it was ugly. It wasn't an awe-inspiring performance. There's been a lot of games that were not awe-inspiring recently. If you look at the games, the last, 3 games, right? Sparta didn't really come to play against us, and it looked like shit. Empoli, that entire first 45, they were 11 men behind the ball and didn't really come to play. And it didn't look good. The only game where like Inter looked like they were pulling out some crisp actions the same way that we saw to this team last year was Bologna. And Bologna came to play us. I mean, they attacked us. There was space available, and we looked much better. But obviously, the performance was better. The result was ass. And in these last couple of games, the results were there. The performances were ass. Yeah, I guess my question to you is just what would you put this inability to look like a dominant side, the kind of dominant side that the results say that we are this year? Why is it not translating to performances against these smaller teams? What do you think is the biggest reason?
I mean, it could be a congested fixture list. It could be fatigue all around. It could be maybe lack of rotation, and I mean like heavy rotation. It's changing 1 or 2 guys out from here to there. That's what one thing. If you're able to do multiple 5, 6, 7 to be able to give guys a rest, and for those guys to take advantage of their opportunities, maybe it'd be different. But I think there is just a lot of fatigue all around. Mkhitaryan just turned 36. We see what's happened with Acerbi and his body, kind of failing him. This is the oldest squad in Serie A. It's bound to happen, unfortunately, and I just wish there was a way that we could address this, whether it be bringing in a signing or a two in the transfer market, which doesn't seem feasible because we just don't have the money. Which not to be critical of Martino Puccio, but he was talking about today. Milan, can't get these deals across the finish line. We're so broke. I'm like, yeah. And all I commented was Inter says hello. You want to talk about not spending money? Inter isn't able to spend money, and which is kind of, it makes it hard to be able to rejuvenate your squad, because you're going to have tired legs. You're going to have when you're playing 2-3 games a week sometimes, and you're playing, let's say 60, 70 minutes at least if you're a regular starter at this club, it's bound to catch up with you. It's a long season. We're only halfway through in reality, and it's only going to get longer, especially now with the Club World Cup as well. So I wonder if anything is going to be able to be done. Hopefully, we're able to figure some things out and put these games away. Because last year we had that killer instinct where we were able to not only step on their throat, but crush them. And I don't know if it's because of Zielinski and Taremi not really blending in properly. I don't know. It's I think we had higher expectations based on the guys that were brought in, and we had hoped that certain players who have been here, whether it's Fratesi, Aslani, and Bisek has done well, and so has Augusto. But you were hoping some of these guys would take a massive step forward within the club, and just hasn't been the case, unfortunately.
I really think the biggest difference between this year and last year is the amount of rotation that is going on. And that's not an excuse like some people may take it. It's just pointing out the difference. Like there was much more continuity to the starting lineup last year, and it showed. You know, the displays were much crisper, they were much better. This year with the fixture list, Inzaghi has really leaned in to the fact that he has a team, a full squad of 25 players, and he's using pretty much all these guys outside of Palacios and Tejan, and Correa for and Arnautovic, I guess.
I mean, just go
But
ahead, keep throwing them on there.
everyone else is being used. Everyone else is being used if they're fit, and I think that's what I would say is the main reason why it hasn't looked super great on the pitch. The results are great, but the performances aren't great, which I agree with. Do you enjoy watching Inter right now?
That's a great question. I don't know if I do right now. I think it's pretty stressful at times, and I can't really. Although today was fun in the sense of I mean, I'll just say it out. I guess I could tell people, right? It's not a big deal. It's not a secret. Antonio Nocerino is the new manager at the club that I get to work for, and I got to sit and watch the game with him. And I mean, the insight and just being able to to hear his thoughts, who the players are that he likes, who stands out to him at this current Inter, who he considers our best player this season. It's really cool. He has a relationship with Simone, and um, having talked to him, he got to tell me some things which I thought was pretty interesting, and I got to enjoy it today. But in terms of games, recently, I feel like I've been a little stressed out. Even when we have a lead, I'm still kind of worried. Like, are we going to collapse? Are we going to allow a late equalizer? Or are we going to allow them to even go ahead and steal the game? And it's not that I think our team is bad. I do think we have moments though where we aren't totally focused. I'm not angry at this season or think, oh my gosh, what a letdown. But there have been times where the killer instinct isn't there to either see the game out or kill them off or whatever it is, and then we just get caught slipping or napping or whatever you want to call it, and then boom, equalizer or boom, game winner. And I mean, if you look, I think if I'm not mistaken, every game we've lost, league and Champions League, has been in the 88th minute or later.
Yeah,
That's
there's two statistics there. The first is the late goals thing where we've been giving up way more late goals than last season. The second thing is we haven't been coming back from losing positions. That's not been what this team is. So it dovetails perfectly with what you're saying as far as what you're seeing from the team this year.
Yeah, and it's something that I am frustrated with in some aspects. I don't know if I would put the blame on Inzaghi. I mean, I know some people do. I see it on Twitter, like, oh, he just doesn't have the guys ready. Or I see them say, like, oh, this team just isn't as good as they were last year, which I don't know if I agree with that. I think talent-wise, it's better than last year. And maybe, yeah, it is. In terms of performances, I think I would agree with that in some aspects. I think we're trying to focus, on competing on every front this year, not just, Scudetto or bust. I think this year we are a little more motivated to have a deeper run than we did last season in the Champions League, which hopefully we're able to do. I think that even though the Supercoppa didn't play out the way we want, it seems that we're somewhat taking the Coppa Italia seriously. I'm hoping that the goalkeeper that apparently every news outlet in Serie A in Italy is ready to write off, and Josep Martinez is able to take that tournament and really cement himself as a starter. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if these guys are able to keep that motivation going to be able to finish it out this season, because I would much rather get the 21st Scudetto and maybe a semifinal appearance in the Champions League would be fantastic. I don't know if you heard though, it was nice to hear Jamie Carragher giving Inter some props after the game.
He's back
he's,
on.
He's very much
Can't pronounce
on
the club, but he's on us.
Yeah, Internazionale. It's nice to hear, that he thinks that we are the strongest team and that he thinks that we'll go very far in this. I haven't heard any English pundit ever speak highly of us, so that I'll give him some respect where it's due. Whether he really has an understanding of the style we play, that's one thing that I'm not too aware of. But I'm glad he's on board with what we're able to do in Inzaghi's tactics.
Yeah, I'm not super enjoying the way that we're playing right now, like a lot of Interisti feel. This game wasn't great. Empoli wasn't great. The second half against Bologna sucked. The first half, I had a lot of fun watching. It felt like we were, the team of last year. The Venezia game wasn't particularly enjoyable. You lost to Milan in what was an epic game, but it's not enjoyable to suffer a 93rd, 94th minute loss. 2-0 against Atalanta. I enjoyed it, even if Atalanta's B team, when it was really just their forwards. So it's been a little bit uneven. Results wise, it's been fine, but performance wise, it's been uneven. I think the next real question here is I think it's a strength of a team to be able to continue to grind out results even though you're not at your best. But the thing that I really want to know from you is, like, do you think? I think one of the things that Tony said was, eventually it's going to catch up to us. Nima said the same thing. So, like, what do you foresee for this team in the future? Do you think this is just a down period, which we typically suffer in the winter months, and then we're going to kick it into gear and be the team that we thought, we had coming into the season? Or do you expect more of the same? Just up and down performances, but continuing to grind out results.
Tough to say for sure. I do worry that it could wind up to catch us. As much as I like to troll, Napoli fans and Napoli as a club, they only have to worry about this title race. That's really it. They continue to grind out results even when they don't play at their best. For whatever reason, teams like to play at their worst against them. I think Atalanta really,
shit the bed.
Yeah, exactly. Because to me, I saw like really two glaring defensive mistakes in that game that led to goals for Napoli. And if they continue to do this, even though they sold Guevara, now there's rumors of Garnacho, who I'm not a fan of, but if Conte is signing off on it, maybe he sees something that you and I don't see, and probably the rest of European football fans. So I do worry that we're not going to be able to stay in. Oh, not stay in it. We'll stay in the race, of course. But because we're having this, up and down type of playing with your emotions, season so far, is it going to be, something where we rattle off 3 straight losses, or we drop points in 3 straight games? Maybe not 3 straight losses, and then we allow Napoli to increase their lead on us. I don't know. I hope that, like you said, this is just a winter blues for us, and that we'll come out of it come mid-February, like we sometimes typically do. But if we do that, are we going to be 6-7 points out of the lead at that point? And is it going to be an overwhelming mountain to climb out of? I don't know. I hope not. I do see that the squad has obviously the talent to be able to compete and get maximum points from all their games. So it's really just going to come down to is Lautaro going to stay hot for us in this time? Is he going to be able to keep scoring the way he has been? 5 goals in 7 games. Awesome. I can't complain really with that. And hopefully he can keep going. Hopefully Thuram can continue to chip in. Although it seems like he's slowed down a little, which it sucks. Like, Thuram is hot, Lauti's cold. Lauti's on fire. Thuram, I mean, he scored. I'm not saying he hasn't, but it's not at the clip that he was doing, 2 goals a game here, So hopefully we can get all our horses running in the same direction. And then next thing you know, we're able to get points. And what's going to be really telling is how we do against Napoli. We really, ourselves and Conte both played just for a draw. No one was really going for the win. Although you could argue that we should have won because, Hakan missed the penalty and whatnot. But after that, it wasn't
also missed a great chance at the end of that game. So it could have went either way. Even with the Hakan penalty, they could have snatched.
Yeah, they could have snatched an equalizer there at the end as well, which I would have said was really undeserving because it felt like they played more scared than we did. But that return fixture, especially it being in Napoli, is going to be huge. And if we could get a 6-point swing there, I'll feel fantastic, really. So
I think I have confidence that we'll be able to turn this thing around performance-wise and kick back into gear if 2 things occur. One, Lauti is, in this second half of the season, he's what he was in the first half of last season, where he was just unplayable. That's one. And then 2, if Hakan is healthy, I think this team plays much better. They just They just do. He's just extremely crucial. So if he can get over this nagging injury bug that he's been dealing with and stay on the pitch consistently, then I have faith that we'll be able to turn it around. All right, last thing just about this performances and results thing before we get into a little bit about the game. There's not a lot to talk about this game, but we'll talk a little bit about it. Do the performances matter? At the end of the day, if we take home the Scudetto or the Champions League, one of these two trophies, but we played kind of the way that we're playing right now, but again, ground out the results. Would it matter to you?
Just thinking about it, and it just popped in my head now. It's kind of funny that you and Nemo were kind of going about back and forth about this, because I think about the way he talks about Allegri and how
I
he
said
doesn't
it.
really. Oh, you did?
I
I didn't
said
see.
it.
I didn't read the whole thread. So that's funny that you did say that. Okay, yeah, because it's like you get the results and you don't care how ugly it is, and cortomuso and all that stuff. You get all excited about that, but now this. So it is kind of a catch-22, because at one side I do care about the results. I really should. I say I don't care at times. I don't care how we get the 3 points. I want 3 points. But then other times I do catch myself wanting to see champagne football, and we've seen it with this squad. It's not like it's impossible for it to happen. So it's like I'm in a tough situation. I don't know what to think.
Would you accept a cortomuso title?
And I think if I really sat down and thought about it and stopped being a prisoner of the moment, in the sense that I want beautiful football, I will take a cortomuso title. I will. I'll come out and say it. If you told me we would win, let's say 36 games and have 2 draws, and every game was either a 1-0 win or a 1-1 draw or a 0-0 draw, whatever, I'd be like, okay, I'll take it. I'm not going to complain, So, yeah, I do wish the performances would match the results, but if at the end of the day we're just getting the results, I really shouldn't complain. I shouldn't. I probably will. I'll be honest. I probably will in some matches. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I won't. But, for the same things I make fun of Juventini for criticizing Allegri, I guess I'd be hypocritical if I'm not, recognizing that in myself as well.
The reality is that no Interista is going to be upset about a cortomuso title. The title is what matters the most. The
You don't
thing
think
is
there's one
that
guy out there who's upset about it?
what would be a problem is that we would have to reckon with what we shat on Juventini for the duration of Juve's title challenge up until it ended last season, where it was like, yeah, you guys are keeping pace, but you look fucking terrible. We would have to accept that that's who we are, which is going to be hard for a lot of people to do. For number 21, I'll take it. For number 21, I'll take it. And then it will come full circle, and we will all be Allegri disciples, I guess. But hopefully it doesn't come to that, and this team can turn it around. All right. As far as this game is concerned, do you have a player of the match, a player that actually stood out and had a complete performance?
I'd probably lean Bastoni.
I was going to say the same.
Too bad. I would have said, and I don't know if you saw the tweet, and Huyan, you might want to look. You didn't like the tweet. I'm a little upset. But I gave your boy a shout out, and you might want to look through my tweets. I'm not going to say which tweet it is, but you'll see it for your boy. And aside from the flop that he did in the first half, I was actually very pleased with Denzel Dumfries as well. He wasn't at fault.
Was that a booking? Was that a booking?
Yeah, dude, that was a massive flop, dude. Come on. Now, you know what though? The only thing that we see flops like that don't get called, so that's why I'm upset. I think
5 minutes into the game. I
don't know if I would call it in that moment, but I think that more guys should be carded for simulation. That much I do think, but I don't think. Yeah, in that 5 minutes in, I think was a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I would say Bastoni gets plus marks for today. Lautaro obviously scored a really amazing goal. People were saying Bastoni overhit the pass to him, but I thought it was he put it where only Lauti could have gotten to it.
Exactly.
So yeah,
exactly.
I liked that. Underachievers, underperformers. I think Pavard continues his streak of not looking too great back there. He's not having himself a good season.
And what about that other kid, the one who's been a topic of conversation for a while now,
Which kid?
the midfielder, the Albanian?
Oh, Aslani. Aslani.
What do you think?
Unimpressive. Unimpressive.
I felt the same way. I didn't tweet about him on purpose because I didn't want all of his, disciples to come after me. But another game, I'm not impressed with anything.
If he's not hitting those like switches and those 40-yard passes, then I don't really know what he's doing.
Me neither. And Boyer didn't have a good game either. I could be.
Yeah, I was going to say that. This
I
is a
could be
bad performance.
unbiased. I recognize when guys don't play well. I mean, although it's a little harder for me with him because he's my favorite player, but he did not look great, especially that miss in the first half. Like, my gosh, like, you got to put that on net. I don't care if you don't. Well, I do care if you don't score because I think you should score in that position. But to not even put it on net, that's kind of disappointing. Yeah, DiMarco didn't have a great game either. I don't know if he was just kind of going through the motions himself and hoping to preserve energy, and we get a lucky goal, a second goal or something that he doesn't have to worry about. But yeah, not the best. Augusto was great. I would give him some props, some shout outs. I think he was very solid defensively at the very least. I don't know about you. I liked what I saw from Zielinski. I thought that he was still, pushing the tempo and trying to.
Super lively.
Yeah, and I thought he was trying to break the lines with his passing, which I would want him to do because I know he's got that ability. I think Mickey played a good game for the most part too. I can't really hate on him. I didn't like late in the second half when he laid it off and just put it way too far in front of Thuram. Like, I think that you have to be better in that situation. But other than that, I really can't have any other complaints with his game.
90 minutes too, which I think is important.
Yeah, which I think means he's not playing the next game. I think it's Zielinski from minute 1 for the Lecce game. I would think maybe you don't want to run him into the ground again. But yeah, that's it. De Vrij,
What did
solid
you
as
think?
well.
What did you cameo?
Can I be honest? I don't even remember anything that he was involved in. Did he do anything?
The one really good action I think was that shot that he took from outside the box that got palmed over.
Yeah, okay. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't really remember anything else that he honestly did. I don't even think I'd be surprised if you told me he got more than 10 touches.
Someone pointed this out, which didn't feel like it, but it's true. He was 9 for 9 on his pass attempts, and he came in the 3rd minute. Zielinski came in 10 minutes later and had 33 touches. So, just way more involved. Way more involved with 10 less minutes on the pitch, which I thought was the microcosm of.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
I'm ready for Sucic and Paz to come immediately.
It would be nice. And we'll talk about the transfer market in a little bit here. Taremi, nothing. What did you think of Thuram today?
Yeah, he didn't seem himself either. I thought that he was a little disappointing.
Selfish?
Yeah. I think that I would make that. Yeah, that for sure. I thought he was a little selfish at times, but I also think I'm actually kind of okay with it to an extent because you want him to be clicking at the same time as Lauti. So if he's just laying it off for Lauti or trying to force feed it to him, then is he just going to lose confidence himself at some point? I don't know. Although he was very confident against Empoli, so with that chance that he took, so yes, I could call him selfish, but I can't hate that he was, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that there's much else to talk about, to be honest. I'm really impressed with Lauti's finish and Bastoni's pass on the goal. I didn't think Sparta created much of anything, and yeah, it was a shit game. I get the criticism afterwards. I understand it. I'm sorry if anyone felt like I was going too hard at them. I apologize.
I think honestly, I think you should write written letters to Tony and Nima. That's the only way we can get through this.
I already did. I already did. They're in the mail. Yeah, they're in the mail.
Priority mail.
Yeah. I'm just having Huion stamp them, and then we'll be good to go. All right, let's get into this Q&A here. At Lee Theo 1, who would you lot trust to take a penalty if it happened in the second half? Lauti used to take him, and he wasn't at his best. I would go for DiMarco. So who was on the pitch in the second half?
Are we saying at the start of the second half?
I guess while Lauti was still on the pitch, so before the 82nd minute, which would have been Bastoni, De Vrij, Pavard, Augusto, Mickey, Zielinski, Fratesi, Darmian,
Yeah,
Duram.
if Zielinski's on the pitch, I think he's the one taking it. If he's not, I don't know. Do I go Di Marco? Yeah, I guess so.
If Taremi's on the pitch, it would be Zielinski, Taremi.
Yeah, in that order. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would still pick Zielinski over everybody though. Like on the who was there. Obviously Hakan's Hakan. Like if we let's say we went to penalties, right, and I got to pick the 5 shooters, I'm probably going Hakan, Zielinski, Taremi, Di Marco. Left field pick, I might go Bastoni.
Bastoni over Barella.
Yeah, I think so. I honestly would be a little nervous with Barella.
Would you trust Aslani to take a penalty kick?
Not a chance in hell. Not
He
a
is
chance.
the set piece specialist when he's on the pitch.
For who? Not Inter.
Would you let Sommer take a penalty over Aslani?
Life on the line, yeah.
Jesus Christ, no faith. The Albanians are gonna come for our podcast.
They're coming for me. I'm dead. They say I have a lot of hate in my heart. It's not hate. I don't hate him. I don't hate anyone at this club. I'm just ready to move on from certain players, and I don't think they're Inter quality, unfortunately. And again, I'm not rooting for him to fail. I'm not. But I don't see any improvements. 3 years, man. Like,
I agree. All right, at a person 1352 just saw that Toro became our joint highest top scorer in the UCL, which he's joint tied with Adriano for 14 goals. Is that more of an impressive accomplishment by him or just an indictment of how historically poor Inter do in the Champions League? So I was thinking about this. Like, I don't think people realize in our lifetime just how often we missed out on the Champions League during the banter era. Like, Icardi definitely could have been up there, but, didn't have the opportunity.
and if you think about it, a lot of the big name players at our club weren't there long enough to be able to put these kind of a big part of Lautaro's success has been his longevity with it. Like Ronaldo had a short window, right? Vieri, Adriano, they didn't have deep runs to really.
Crespo,
I think he was only there 2 years and then he went, to Chelsea and the Milan and bounced around before he came back. Whatever.
Milito, Eto'o.
Milito was only there 2 years of Champions League, and then after that, it was no more for him. I mean, Eto'o was only there 2 years himself. I'm trying to think. Palacio never had a chance, never played in it.
No.
Yeah, it's
sad because we have such a history of amazing strikers, but as far as Champions League history, we've been following, it's been some pretty underwhelming runs and not qualifying for several years. All right, at FC Andre 1908, can you think of a better Inter goal this season than Lautaro's opener, early goal of the season contender? Interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, all of Barella's bangers.
Yeah, Barella against Lazio, for sure.
Barella against
Napoli.
Atalanta, I mean.
Barella against Atalanta, yep.
I mean, I like this one, but I don't think it's my favorite personally.
All those would have been better.
Yeah.
All right. That's the Q&A, and I just want to wrap up here with a little Mercato check-in. Latest news. Fratesi, Piero gave an interview before the game, saying Fratesi has not come to him, saying that he's unhappy here. Inzaghi has said, I asked all of my players if anyone's unhappy, and no one's responded negatively. Ausilio also made an interesting comment about Fratesi's agent, Es Simpatico, which is he's basically saying, just looking out for Fratesi, which I thought was an interesting dig there. But it doesn't look like Fratesi is going to make the move because it doesn't look like Roma is going to pony up the money. If he was to do it late stage in the window, there's no doubt in my mind that Inter would pay whatever fee it is to bring Sucic in now. So as far as I'm concerned, whether Fratesi is in or he leaves, I believe that position is going to be covered effectively. The next thing is Ausilio did mention Tejan and did say we've been talking to him and we're trying to work to find a solution because it would be better for him to be playing and he has him getting many minutes, which I thought was super reasonable for the director to be saying and also for Tejan to want because he is the 5th choice wingback at the club right now. So there's really 2 options that Inter can take. Tejan leaves and they bring in another wingback, which the name that is being spoken about is Zalewski, or they bring in a central defender. For me, every day of the week, you find a central defender, even if it's a stopgap just for 6 months, just to get you over the hump. For me, that's what you do. How do you play this?
Yeah, if you loan him out, Tejan, I think you go center back personally. You see, Acherbi is unreliable right now. We don't know what's going to happen with him, if anything, and you can't keep playing Devray like this. And I mean, I hope Palacio gets some type of minutes here. Like you got to build a little bit of faith in him. You can't tell me you have zero faith in him. You can't. I'm sorry. I don't know if you saw the Monaco game this week. Wilfred Sengo looked pretty good as a third center back as well.
That's an investment we should have made a long time ago.
We should have made, a long time ago for sure. I'm sure now it would be cost us an arm and a leg, but that's something to maybe look into, because if he could play in a back three as well, that's massively beneficial.
He's more right center back, so it would kick Bisek inside, which I'd be totally fine with.
I would be totally fine with as well. Yeah, we'll see what happens, man. Like, I don't think anyone really leaves. Maybe Buchanan goes out on loan, but I don't think anyone comes in unless it's another loan deal. And yeah, maybe Zalewski is that guy. I don't think that's an upgrade personally. I'm sure some Interisti who just hate Buchanan because he's Canadian and whatever other stupid reasons they want to have. It's the same thing with Juventini who don't like McKennie, or people who don't like Pulisic. It's like, because of a stereotype of them being American or Canadian, you just automatically assume they're trash. I think that's kind of ridiculous. Was I disappointed with Buchanan's latest appearance? Absolutely, but that doesn't mean I don't see potential in him either. I don't know. The hate there. Whatever.
I'm out on Zalewski. I haven't seen him even play, like, not even impressively. I haven't seen him play well since like Mourinho was there. I feel like every time I watch him, he's doing something that I'm like, oh my god, like what are you doing? So
we might as well be tied to Karsdorp. Like it's the same level of stupidity in my opinion. But
I get the versatility. He can play both flanks, but I just don't see how he finds his way to more minutes.
You should have got Cambiaso when he was at Genoa.
Yeah. Well, what do you think is the best move for Tejan? The three teams that are most advanced for him are Roma, Torino, and Ajax.
I think from a development standpoint, it would be Ajax. I think from probably an opportunity to play more, it would be Torino. But I
would say Ajax because Farioli is a great coach. They have an awesome young Italian coach. Not that Vanoli is not, but
I'd be more inclined to be excited about Ajax than anything really. But I just don't know if he would even get the minutes that he's looking for there.
Yeah. All right. I guess last question: do you think Tejan should leave
on loan or permanently?
Loan.
Yeah, I think he should. I think he should, get some opportunity to play. I think that helps build confidence too. I think that would allow him to come back feeling good and feeling like he can. I do like that he said that he wants to challenge for a starting spot. I think that's a good mentality to have. You don't want guys who are shying away from that. And I don't think he's shying away from even this if he goes out on loan. But I think he knows that, like, hey, I'm coming back, from a knee injury. I kind of need to play to see how I feel, to build up that muscle memory and stuff, and to feel like I'm confident in my own abilities to take on defenders. And I need to play. It's difficult at Inter. You have Di Marco and even Dumfries, who are probably the best in the world right now at their position, which I never thought I would say in my lifetime about Denzel Dumfries. But it's going to be hard to find a space to carve out time for yourself in this Inter. So I think it would be best for his development for sure.
Same situation Fratezi's in, right? It's like, what can you show to earn a spot over Barella? It's not realistic. So yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. Next game coming up is away to Lecce, which is not an easy trip whatsoever. Hoping for a good performance. That's on Sunday at 12 Eastern. And
that's 9 a.m. Pacific time for my West Coast people.
Pacific. Anything else before we head out?
Looked into getting tickets for the Club World Cup. I think we kind of missed the window for like the early lottery thing, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, we got to try to find a way to make it happen, and at least one game. Maybe I'll put a poll out on the which I know I forgot to put a post about it, but I'll put a poll out which, if any, Seattle game people would be interested in going to, and then from there, I'll try to see, if you can comment on that post that, hey, you're interested, we could try to get something, maybe started to see if we even have to go. If we have to go secondary market, maybe we go that route. But I'm definitely, I definitely want to get that at least one game in for that.
Yeah, our first game, it looks like June 25th in Seattle.
I thought it was June 21st was the first one in Seattle.
Is it June 20th?
I think it's the 21st and then the 25th for the second game.
21st. Oh yeah, it is in at Lumen Field against Urawa. Okie doke. Sorry for stirring up shit today, guys. Apologies, Tony, Nima. I love you. Just
I mean, you gotta slow down, bro. I don't know what's going on.
I'm just a little angry guy. All right. In the words of the great Roberto Scarpini, forza ragazzi, forza ragazzi, forza ragazzi.